So what are some strategies that companies can use to integrate social learning into their programs? And maybe what are, one or two sort of examples where the inspiration can happen for people, where you can decide this is the kind of activity that we want to put in front of people, or this is a situation we want to put them in, and we want to see if the social learning can happen.
Yeah, so I like to think about it as like attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. And that's like that comes out of social learning theory as well. And so if you think about like a category of attention, well, you can use social learning icebreakers as a good example of social learning, getting their attention through stories of their own peers and colleagues, something that captures them and gives the what's in it for them, connects to them emotionally, or even shares what is the benefit for them. You can share that through like it will benefited me, right? Like you can even think about social learning even happens in therapy, right? Like an AA program, right? That is social learning about learning how to overcome addiction, right? And so you get the attention even in those situations by other people sharing their stories or what, how I was in your place but now I'm here, and so that can inspire people and again capture attention. If the next one is retention, well, then like, how are they going to retain what they learned? Well, we know that we process information by taking what's internal and making it external. And so that's talking about what we've learned. And so social learning isn't it just about watching other people do what they do, but it's also sharing what you've learned with other people, which actually makes those memory traces or the retention of what you've learned even stronger in your own mind, right? And they say like, the best way to learn a thing, right, is to get to the place where you like learn, do, and teach. And that again goes back to that social learning aspect. The other one is a reproduction. And so that is like the feedback aspect of social learning, where you have them learn, have them do, and then they get feedback from somebody who is more skilled and more advanced in whatever it is that they needed to do in order to get that targeted feedback on what it is that they can enhance. I mean, it's not just workplace learning. That applies to all sorts of things, including sports, right? You even like I have three boys. I almost said four. I have a husband. He's not a boy. I have three boys, and they are all in sports. And so they're not going to get better just because they're playing basketball on the hoop in our driveway. They get better because the coach says, you're holding your arm wrong. You need to put your feet like this. You need to throw straight or whatever that is. And that is that specific targeted feedback that you get. And then the last thing is motivation. And because we're social creatures, a lot of motivation can come just from being in a social learning environment, having people cheer you on, having even the motivation that knowing that other people are watching you. You'll even see it like in universities, right? The universities that have the on-ground classes versus the online classes. The show up rates for on ground classes are higher than those online. And I would say, and I think studies would probably show that the reason why you have more people show up to the in person is because there is a social pressure for them to show up. Whereas in online, you can hide and like they're not keeping attendance in the same way. Your peers aren't noticing if you're missing from the online class. But if your seat is empty, they're going to notice and they're going to be like, hey, Susie, why didn't you show up to class? Or, oh, I missed you. Or you're a part of our learning team and I needed you to be a part of our group work. And so motivation comes through that. And then just being able to share brings motivation. And also, motivation comes from a sense of mastery. And how do you know that you've mastered something unless you have gotten the feedback from your peers? And so, social learning, in a lot of ways, we probably integrate it without necessarily thinking like, I'm integrating social learning theory. We're just thinking, oh, this could make this fun. This could make this, wouldn't it be great if we got other people to share their experiences about making sales or running cold calls or whatever that training is about.